Welcome back to Wrestling World. Today we'll be taking a look at some interesting updates on Roman Reigns, Dominik, and Zelina Vega. So let's kick things off with Dominik. The 23-year-old superstar has been pushed right into the spotlight immediately on Raw. Dominik is one of the top 3 youngest superstars on the main roster. However, the youngest overall on-screen WWE character right now is Dominik's sister, Aalyah. She's a consistent, reappearing character on the main roster at just 19 years old. So Rey Mysterio definitely has a very talented son and daughter on his hands. Both of them are extremely young, and they're both within the first few months of their actual WWE careers. The future is very bright for the both of them, but obviously things are a little shaky right now. This is their first time truly portraying a character, and both of them have no real prior experience. Dominik was recently a guest on Mark Henry's podcast, and during the interview, they touched on this topic. Mark Henry explained how nervous he was during his first run with WWE. So he asked Dominik how his first experience was and if he was ever nervous. Dominik had this to say: "I'm nervous all day when it comes to when I debuted on SummerSlam to all the Raws I've been doing. I was nervous at SummerSlam from that Sunday coming into that Monday when I get there, but there's something about an hour before where I know I need to be locked in, and it kind of flips a switch for me, and I don't really freak out or get nervous. I realize the task at hand and what I have to do to execute it, and that's my main focus at that time." So that's completely understandable for Dominik. Given his young age and the fact that he was thrown into this huge SummerSlam match with Seth Rollins, that could be pretty nerve-wracking. It's your very first match. You want to live up to that legendary Mysterio family name. You want to impress Vince McMahon. You want to impress the fans so that they can respect you as well. There's a lot that can go through your head out there as a performer. So it's very easy to get overwhelmed and nervous when you start thinking about all that. You want to be the best. You don't want to go out there and embarrass yourself. But like Dominik said, as he gets closer and closer to the show, he just flips that switch and locks in. You'll also have to imagine what his 19-year-old sister, Aalyah, goes through before shows as well. She probably gets just as nervous, but the Mysterio family has been absolutely crushing it. Like we mentioned last week, their segments pull in more viewership than a WWE Championship match. So that tells you a lot. Yeah, there's some feedback out there from fans that are being highly critical of Dominik and Aalyah. But you just have to remember what you're dealing with here. You're not dealing with a veteran 28, 29-year-olds out there. You're dealing with a teenager and someone in their very early 20s. So you can't be so quick to trash them. Let them develop. Let them find their motives and characters. Sure, everything hasn't been 100% perfect with the Mysterio family storyline, but I feel like Dominik and Aalyah have both shown flashes of great potential. So we have to stick with them and give them some time because they're only going to get better. Dominik also talked about the popular concept of him taking on his father's mask. Dominik did point out that some could see it as being pointless, since we've all seen his face already, but he believes that with the right story, it would make sense for him to wear that mask. Dominik had this to say about wearing the mask during a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet. "There's still talks about wearing a mask. We would like to get it into the traditions of Lucha Libre, which would be putting a mask on me and taking on the name, but I think that's all down the line in the future." So that idea of Dominik wearing a mask seems to be a concept that keeps coming up within WWE. But like Dominik said, it looks like it could be happening down the line. Maybe with Rey's official retirement and last match, maybe Rey will just hand over the mask right there, and that will give Dominik an actual reason to wear the mask. But we'll have to see where Dominik's story goes next. I wanted to talk about this Roman Reigns theory because it's looking like this theory could actually happen. Fans have been talking about a new Shield sort of faction for a long time. The truth is that no one will be able to recreate the Shield, but we might still get another faction that includes Roman Reigns. Fans have been talking about the possibility of a heel Roman Reigns faction ever since his return. If you can remember back to last year, Roman Reigns teamed up with his cousins, Jimmy and Jay, to form the Bloodline faction for a short amount of time. They competed alongside each other in several matches, but the faction was never properly booked and they never went anywhere as a faction. The new idea that fans have been discussing is for the Bloodline to reunite, but as heels this time. Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, and head of the table with his cousins Jimmy and Jay, backing him with support. Some fans believe that we may already be seeing the first few storyline plans for that faction right in front of us right now. Jay is going to be in another title match. Jay was never submitted or pinned, so it makes a lot of sense for him to get another match. He just defeated AJ Styles, a former WWE champion, on Smackdown as well, so everything is going well for him. Roman Reigns told him that he'll get the title match, but that this one will have the highest stakes of them all. So that's really interesting right there. It sounds like the Universal title won't be the only thing on the line in this Hell in a Cell match. It seems that Roman Reigns wants Jay to put something on the line and risk something for this matchup as well. What could Roman Reigns be referring to? Some fans wondered if Roman will make Jimmy and Jay acknowledge him as the head of the table and force them to join him if Jay loses. Roman Reigns is very big right now on getting that acknowledgement out of his cousins, and he didn't get it from Jay at Clash of Champions. So what if Roman Reigns says, if I win, you and Jimmy have to acknowledge me and join me? That right there would be the perfect start to getting the Bloodline together as heels. It will be a bit weird considering that Jimmy and Jay are being forced to join the group against their wills. But maybe over time they start to enjoy it and they fully turn heel themselves. So you'll have Roman Reigns surrounded by Jimmy, Jay, and Paul Heyman. That's one serious looking faction right there. So be on the lookout for the Bloodline getting back together. Next up is Zelina Vega. We haven't talked about Zelina in a while, but she's been up to a lot in recent weeks. Zelina finally broke free from Andrade and Garza and realized, you know what? Why am I wasting my time with them? That's a very good point by Zelina. She's been a full-time manager for years now, and nothing has been really happening for her own career. So Zelina has now started to focus on her own singles career. She did pick up some big wins and challenge Asuka for the women's title a few times, but was unsuccessful. We even saw a brief interaction between Andrade and Zelina Vega on Raw recently, where Andrade told Zelina that she's nothing without him. Zelina responded on Twitter by saying, "I made you," to Andrade. So what's going on there? Are they already heading back together? As dumb as it sounds, I really wouldn't put it past WWE. They've been making a lot of big moves with superstars lately, then try to reverse what they just did. So a Zelina Vega and Andrade reunion honestly wouldn't surprise me at this point. But another theory has come up, and that's what if Zelina Vega finally manages Aleister Black, her actual real-life husband? That has been something discussed by fans for a long time now. When she was managing Andrade and he was wrestling Aleister, it was pretty weird because Zelina would literally be rooting against her husband. So now that she's free from Andrade, will she manage Aleister Black? It's a good theory. It'll be good to see another WWE couple united on TV, but I don't think it'll happen. Zelina Vega literally just went solo a few weeks ago. I don't see the point in making her go solo and then tying her down to be a manager a few weeks later. Sending Zelina back to be a manager after a few weeks as a single start does sound like something WWE would do, so I wouldn't put it past them. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.